everybody, welcome back to my channel. I have a great video for you today. Today we're going to talk about a first date that I had that I don't want any of you to ever repeat. This first date was a little crazy and wild. Was it fun? Oh, hell yeah, it was fun. However, I don't recommend, okay? And so let's get started. A while back, I met a guy on a dating app and we hit it off. Like our conversation, it was flowing. We understood each other. And, you know, the chit chat just was going back and forth. And I was just like, oh, I like communicating with him. You know, he's a lot of fun. Long story short, so I gave him my number. We're talking. And I think within like the first couple days, I was like, so when are we going to meet? Like, I'm more like that. Like, I don't want to talk to you forever. Like, I'm more like, okay, so when are we meeting? Like, okay, can we just move forward? Because if you're not interested in meeting me, then I'm going to move on. I don't want to continue talking to you because you suck. So anyway, no, it doesn't mean that they suck. But I was just like, so let's get to the point because I get bored. I don't want to talk to you for days on end if there's just no interest in meeting whatsoever. So anyway, long story short, we had planned for a date. You know, we talked a few times on the phone during the week and, you know, the conversation was great. We got along. We had some of the same interests, but I don't know. I just thought he was fun and, I was just like, he hit it off. And, you know, we both kind of like, well, we both were actually on the same page, like, well, let's see where things go and whatever. And, you know, so I was like, I was fine with that. Normally, you don't want to talk to those kind of people. But I was a person that I'm like, I like to see, you know, let me meet you first and see what happens. So, but mind you, during our connection, like I liked him. I just thought he was fun. Like he was super fun to talk to. And for me, that's important. I like people with personality. I like people to make me laugh. I like people that, you know, if we have the same interests and, you know, it's like the vibe, you know, it's like the vibe is there and, you know, you just feel it, you know, and I think it's great. You know, sometimes you talk to people and you're like, oh my God, like I cannot talk to this person for another freaking minute or I'm going to pull my hair out of my head. So there are those people out there, but this one, I mean, I could have talked to him every day, all day. No problem at all. So anyways, I was just, you know, it was like the day before our date and I was actually starting to get like a little nervous because I'm like, oh, I really like this one and I'm excited to meet him. And, you know, sometimes I do have a tendency to have a little bit of anxiety, which I think is normal for anybody on a first date. Some anxiety is normal and that's okay. Well, here comes the day of the date. And now, you know, and I was just kind of like, he was like, oh, when would you like to meet? Because he wanted to meet like early in the afternoon. And I'm like, no, I want to meet like more at night. And it was a Saturday. So I was just like, you know, of course, to me, my nerves are kicking in. I'm like, I got to clean my whole house and I got to do laundry. And he's just like, okay. And I'm just like, I got to do like all these things that I want to do. And of course, it's a weekend. So long story short, and it was like coming up on the time that I was going to meet him. And all of a sudden, I just got extremely anxious. And I was just like, oh my God. And I was like, you know, we were going to meet at a bar and like have a drink and then kind of decide, you know, what we were going to do. And, you know, just kind of like, oh, let's go with flow. So anyways, I got so freaking nervous that I ended up drinking a whole bottle of wine. Yes, a lot of you are going to think that I'm freaking crazy. And yes, probably a little bit. But yeah, had a whole bottle of wine before I was going to meet this guy. So, okay, no judgment here because I've told people not to do this. I had a whole bottle of wine. So then I ended up calling him like a dipshit. And I was like, hey, got a little problem. And he's like, is everything okay? I'm like, well, kind of. Now, mind you, when I got his phone number, I ran his background. I ran his name. I knew his first name. I knew his last name. I knew where he lived. And no, I'm not a stalker. No, I'm not a psycho. I'm just protecting myself. So I researched him. I knew where he worked. Like, you know, so I felt pretty confident. in having him over. So I was like, listen, I'm so sorry. I was like, this is not what I planned to do, but I'm like, I cannot drive. And I was like, I just literally had a whole bottle of wine because I'm nervous. And he was like, okay. And I was like, why don't you just come to my house? Okay, not my finest first date scenario. But I was just like, we vibe and everything, and I never want to meet anybody for the first time at my house ever. And don't ever do that. Please. So anyway, guy comes over, we're talking, and we just hit it off. We're just, yeah. So we had a great time. I'm not going to tell you what we did. So if you can use your imagination, I'm sure you will figure that out. So we had a very strong vibe, and we had a lot of freaking fun. I'm sorry, but that was a blast. We continued to see each other for a few months after that, but unfortunately, he had a baby mama involved and a son with a whole lot of problems. And I felt it was important for him to be a dad first. And the baby mama was completely unstable, and generally those are not situations that I like to be involved in. How did I find that out? It's called extensive questioning in a different way, meaning like, when you ask questions because you want to find things out, you casually ask them, and because those are important things that you really need to know. And you have to ask yourself, what kind of situation do I want to put myself into when it comes to having a potential partner? And those are things you really have to kind of look at. But was it a great time? Hell yeah, it was a great freaking time. Would I do it again? No. I would never do that again. That was just kind of like a yeah. Again, don't ever bring somebody to your house for a first date unless you know everything about them, because your safety is important. But let's say, you could go to a bar and the guy could follow you out of the bar, and, something could happen that way too. But again, like, having your own space and things like that, so just don't do that. And don't ever have a whole bottle of wine before a first date. That was a bad decision. I was just so nervous, like, meeting him. And I was like, I can't, like, I have to calm down my nerves because otherwise I'm going to lose my shit. But it was a great time. I had a lot of fun. But don't ever do that. Don't do what I do. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this story. Do I miss talking to him? Yeah, I do. I do miss talking to him. I miss hanging out with him. We just understood each other. I could be myself around him. It's just, what? He had some unfortunate situation, and he's got a child that really needs him. And I, sometimes I take a look at things and I'm like, I can't put myself in that situation. My kids are older and they have their lives together. And, when there's a troubled child, that child has to come first. And, I don't want to demand, more of anybody's time or things like that. All right, everybody, if you have a crazy dating story where you were like, what did I just do? Why did I do that? Send me a message. I would love to hear it. I can actually do a video about it if you'd like me to. I don't have to, but I don't know. Could be fun. All right, everybody, have an amazing day. Be careful out there on those first dates and make good choices. All right, bye-bye.